Welcome back to the Vanessa G Fitcast. I'm Vanessa Gillette Pozos, and here with me is
Omar Pozos. What is up, our VGFN fam? I feel like I haven't been in here in quite some time for some reason.
Yeah, we skipped a week recording wise. We did 2 episodes in 1 week, and then we skipped last week, and now we're all discombobulated.
You replaced me. I can't believe it.
Something like that. Well, so today, this is actually going to be a follow-up episode from our episode 2 weeks ago, episode 108, which was how to know if you have metabolic resistance. And so I know a lot of women were listening to that episode and identifying like, oh my gosh, I have metabolic resistance. This is me to a T. If you don't know, if you haven't listened to that episode, go back, listen to that one first, because that's going to give you a lot of context here. But I had said in that episode that I wanted to actually do another episode to give you guys a little bit of advice on what to do if this is you. Like, where do you even start with this stuff?
Or the other thing I heard from the other previous episode was like, oh my gosh, you mean I can increase my metabolism and have it work for me, not against me? I was like, yes, you can.
Exactly. So I know everybody's like, please tell me how. I want my metabolism to work for me. So we're going to talk about that today. And so let's actually use a little bit of an analogy here. Omar, you like cars a little bit.
I drive them, yes. No, I like cars, sure.
That was very sexist of me. I'm like, you're a man. You like cars.
You like cars. You're a woman. You like, I don't know.
Let's not go there. But
yes, I do like cars.
You like trucks.
That's my dream. My dream car is a Ford Raptor, either a white one or I can even do a black one. But yes, a Ford Raptor is my dream truck. So if Ford's listening out there, I will take one as a sponsor. Yes.
Okay. Well, so think about it. If you got a Ford Raptor, I don't know what the gas mileage is on a Ford Raptor.
Let's say at most 10 miles per gallon.
All right. So
not very good.
You got your Ford Raptor and you're going and you're suddenly like, oh crap, this is really crappy gas mileage. Yeah. Let's say that it's not even 10. Let's say that you just, for some reason, your Ford Raptor only got 5. Terrible.
Well, if I had a Ford Raptor, I would drive it like a crazy person. So maybe,
probably.
Maybe it would be terrible. Sure.
Well, so if you're at a point where you're like, all right, I've got to fix this problem of having a terrible gas mileage, what are you going to do? First thing, you're probably going to stop driving like a maniac and maybe take your foot off the gas a little bit. Yeah. Not be constantly just slamming that gas pedal. You want to be a little bit more efficient with how you're driving it. So you're going to take your foot off the gas. That would probably be step number 1, the simplest thing you could do.
Correct.
What is something else you could do?
Well, I could maybe look at, I don't know, like the truck itself. Like, is there something like performance-wise that I could do or anything I could change to help me drive either, with more gas mileage or just drive better in general? Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. So number 2 is you would put in higher quality gas. So you can actually get, one of the ones. Yep. You can get better gas mileage if you're putting higher quality gas into the tank.
Correct.
Number 3 is more so what you were saying of maybe we could actually look at the machinery itself and actually probably do some work to put in some more fuel efficient machinery to make your Ford Raptor a little bit more fuel efficient.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, this is literally what we would do with a adapted metabolism. If you are dealing with metabolic resistance, you're basically dealing with a body that just has terrible gas mileage. You are not able to really use the calories you're eating efficiently, to where now if you overeat calories, you go out on the weekend, you want to go to a restaurant, you want to hang out with your friends, you want to have a couple drinks, your body's just going to soak up those calories and store it as body fat because it's not efficient with that fuel. So how do we make our body fuel efficient?
This is a great analogy. I feel like my mind just went, it just exploded. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
I've never seen you so zoned in on an episode before. Well, tell me, Omar, what would you do first?
Well, I would, considering the analogy you just gave, I would say, let's look at the foods that I am eating on a normal basis.
Let's go back. What was step number 1 with the Ford Raptor?
So taking the foot off the gas.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to take our foot off the gas a little bit rather than just going full send all the time. Let's look. Let's look at how we are spending our life. Let's slow down in life a little bit. And there's a few ways really we can think about this. So we've talked about this before. Stress is terrible on the body. Stress is really the probably number 1 cause of metabolic resistance. And so what do? rather than say, okay, let's jump to, changing up our machinery. Let's just simply take our foot off the gas a little bit. Let's focus on de-stressing. Let's look at all the things that we're doing in life that are causing stress or adding stress to our body. And let's look at what we can strategically lower or remove, and also consider the other end of the spectrum of what can we add that actually de-stresses us. So maybe we're looking at, okay, what is causing stress in our life? Maybe we're currently trying to lose weight and we're doing, 2 hours in the gym every day. We're doing like an hour of cardio. We're restricting our calories.
Yep.
We're stressing our body out. So we might say, okay, we need to take our foot off the gas a little bit and not focus quite so much on weight loss right now. Again, we will get there once we fix our metabolic resistance, but you're not going to be able to lose weight with metabolic resistance anyway. So we're just going to have to set that aside for a little bit. So that maybe be number one.
Yeah. And to your point, Vanessa, because I think we've said this a couple of times, but at times people don't just really understand it because it's not very, it's just not well communicated. When to your point of saying like, okay, let's take our foot off the gas a little bit, doing a weight loss approach, going to the gym on top of a busy work schedule, on top of being a mom, like the trial, the stopping and trying of losing the weight over and over, that is stress on your body, right?
Yep.
Going to the gym, that is stress on your body. So to my point is it's not about just, not working out or not doing anything. It's about doing things the right way so you can get to where you're trying to go without the most amount of resistance or without having to beat yourself up along the way, if that makes any sense. Because
exactly.
Notice how I didn't say one of the things that I wouldn't do is drive my truck, right? Like I'm still going to use it. It's just about knowing how to use it more efficiently and smarter so that I don't either, keep throwing tons of money in gas or end up like wrecking the truck itself if I'm driving like a maniac. Not that I do drive like a maniac, but it's just for the podcast.
Well, Zoe and I can definitely attest.
Oh, don't even go there. Are you kidding me? Zoe's in the back of your car, like flying around because you're taking turns like a crazy person. So,
all right, we're not going down that path with this podcast. Let's go back to how can we, okay, so we talked about how we can lower our overall stress load, but what can we add to lower stress as well via de-stressing activities? We could add in some meditation, some yoga, some prayer. We could just work on getting outside more, get in some sunshine, go,
better sleeping routine.
Yeah, let's improve our sleep. Let's go for some gentle walks. Let's do things that just make you laugh. Even like just spending more time of just relaxing with your family, putting on like a funny show. Those things are good for you in moderation. Of course, I'm not saying spend 24/7 just watching The Office, which is something I definitely did in my early 20s. But we do, encourage you to do these kinds of things that just fill you up and lower your stress, make you happier, make you laugh. It can be something simple like, take a hot bath at night. Maybe schedule a massage, go get a pedicure or manicure, like do things that give you energy instead of take away your energy.
Yeah.
These things are important.
And I'm going to, just be very honest and upfront. Like I'm sure there's listeners out there like, oh, so easy for you guys to say like, I have 3 kids at home, or I have a job that requires me to work 12 hours, or I have to be on my feet 24/7, or I don't have time. Like, I understand that. I get it. It's not as easy as just being like, oh, I'm just going to take more walks today and I'm going to, do some prayer or meditate. Like it's not that easy. I get it. But the thing is, you have to be intentional. You have to make the time, the space for these kind of things, because we need to get your body to understand that it's not, stuck in this state of fight or flight or being stressed all the time, because that's really step number 1 to get you to a point where weight loss is going to be the next approach, or weight loss is going to be the next possible outcome for you. If you never take the time to do this, it's never going to work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. All right. So we pulled our foot off the gas a little bit. What can we do next? Tell us, Omar. You already started to go that direction before. What's step number 2?
Using better gas on it, right?
Yeah, higher quality gas. So this is where we can actually look at how we can just improve our nutrition as a whole. And this might mean a higher quality diet. So like for our clients, we always like to go back to what we call the 80-20 rule. Let's keep 80% of what you're eating to high quality, nutrient dense whole foods. And let's allow that 20% or so to be the fun foods, the foods that are still, treats and still add value to your life in the way that they just add to your life. Being able to have cake at your kid's birthday party, being able to grab a drink with the girls. Like, these things do have value, and we're absolutely not saying we need to cut all of those things out. We just need to have it be in moderation. So 80-20 rule is a great place to start when we're talking about higher quality gas, higher quality diet. When we're talking about, even just looking at the types of foods we're eating, I like to encourage more of a Mediterranean style of diet. So Mediterranean is very classic, like a lot of vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, fish, olive oil, avocado, like lots of healthy fats. These types of things really, really great for overall hormone health and overall body. So that's a really great place to kind of look for just the higher quality, that 80% of your diet. That's a really good place to start. But also little things like drinking more water. That's definitely a great source of fuel. If you are not drinking enough water, that's a very, very easy place to start. Just work on doubling what you're currently drinking. If you're only having 2 bottles of water a day, try and bump it up to 4 bottles of water a day. That can make a huge difference on how you feel.
And isn't it funny how, like, when you put in a perspective where you're talking analogies, right? Like, you would never go up to your brand new, like, $100,000 car and, like, I don't know, try to slash the tires or like break the windows. Like, this car sucks. This car is terrible. It's like, no, you try to really look at what you're doing on a daily basis. That's, either keeping the car from performing as best as it can, or just not, producing the results that you want. Or even better, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sure I like cars, but I'm not an expert at them. You go to a mechanic who is an expert in this stuff. I'm like, hey, can you help me, teach me how to best handle this car so that I don't end up either wrecking it or continue to, not have the gas mileage or whatever performance thing you're trying to look for, right? So go to an expert and help get the help that you need with it is also, I think, a big one for me. Yeah,
for sure. And let's see, how else can we improve our quality of fuel? We've talked about this one before, cut back on caffeine. If we're over consuming caffeine, that's absolutely going to have effect on our metabolism in a negative way. If we want to get kind of nitty gritty here, looking at just reducing your overall toxic load. So if you can afford it, aiming to eat more organic foods. You can look up the Dirty Dozen list, and those are a great place to start of which foods you might want to swap out, which ones are the worst when it comes to the quality. So if you swap
what's the Dirty Dozen? I've never heard of that.
Oh gosh, where does it come from? I'm going to be like speaking. We're going to Google this
because not great podcasting. But it says Dirty Dozen.
Yeah, EWG. EWG's Dirty Dozen list. So that's where
Shopper's Guide to Pesticides and Produce.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, the Dirty Dozen is the produce that has the worst amount of pesticides and just the highest toxic load. So if you're like, I can't afford to go completely organic, but there's a couple of things that maybe I could start to buy organic, starting with that list, if those are things that you eat regularly, is a great place to start.
Oh, this is really cool.
Yeah. See, you learn something new every day, Omar.
Well, I'm going to get a Ford Raptor. I need to make sure, where we can start saving some money here.
Yeah, something like that. But, even we talked about cutting back on caffeine, maybe adding in more teas is a great place to start. But overall, just think about how we can get closer to that 80-20 rule. And then last but not least, what was step number 3?
You're really putting me on the spot.
I know, I love it.
I said adding like performance parts to the car if you can, or if that's an option.
Yeah, so we talked about putting in fuel efficient machinery. So what would that look like for our body, the metabolism? Your eyebrows just went like, what?
Well, I thought you were going to ask me. I was like, what kind of performance parts do I put on a truck? I'm like, I don't know, babe. You just drive the thing.
Yes, we have learned from this podcast that you are actually not a car person.
I am. I'm a man.
I'm a man. No, okay. Fuel efficient machinery, supplementation, and more specific diet protocols for your body is what we're talking about here. So just like with the car, we're probably going to actually look at how your body is functioning, or how your car is functioning. We're going to look at the body and say, how is the body functioning? So if you listen to our previous episode on this, and we talked about how we like to pull labs and really dig in and truly find
You get under the hood, no pun intended.
Look at you. Yeah, we get under the hood and we really find that root cause issue. Then we can actually really tailor our nutrition protocol specifically to that. So, I don't like to give out specifics here because this is highly, highly individual, and I don't want anybody to try and self-diagnose and potentially give themselves the wrong nutrients that can actually exacerbate their issues, because that also can very much happen. But one that's usually like a safe bet that can be helpful for people that maybe are dealing with hypothyroidism is, how can we make a small little tweak to your diet that is hardly even noticeable, but can actually have a nice difference on how you feel? Let's add 2 Brazil nuts per day. That can boost your selenium levels, which is really, really great for your thyroid and can be really beneficial.
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to give out specifics there because this really is highly individual, but when we do get labs, we can see where things are off, then this is where we can really put in that fuel efficient machinery to make sure that we are getting your metabolism working the way it should be, so that you can ultimately lose that body fat or maintain the body that you want without having to starve yourself, without having to miss out on wine and desserts and sweets and all of your favorite treats, because you should be able to live a full life without having to worry about this stuff.
Yeah. And to your point, I think I think the biggest thing to emphasize here is, you're obviously you're not an object, you're not a car, but your body does perform based on how you treat it, right? So just because, you've had, rough years in the past where you've maybe gone for quick fix diets that have not proven to be, to give you the results that you want, that doesn't mean you have to throw in the towel. It just means you have to tweak your approach to get you to where you ultimately want to go, right? And I think you've mentioned something like this, or to the effect of this before, Vanessa. It's like, if you're driving on the street, you get a flat tire, you're not going to get out and poke holes in the other 3 tires just because your one tire gave out, right? You're going to find a solution to the one tire so you can ultimately keep going and keep going forward. So that's what it comes down to. This stuff is really tweaking your approach, making sure that you are doing things correctly, but not just, for the masses, really correctly for you, your body, and where you ultimately want to go. And I think that's what takes this thing to a whole nother level.
I love it.
Boom.
So many car analogies
I know.
today. Wow.
I feel so manly.
We're just experts. This podcast, we just cruised right through it.
Oh my, all right. People are going to be like, all right, this episode sucks.
But I hope that this was helpful for somebody out there. If it was, shoot me a DM, let me know. And the best way you can give back to us is post a screenshot of this podcast or any episode that has been helpful for you onto your Instagram story, or share it on social media, wherever you're active, and share it with others so that they can benefit from this as well. But that is all for this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week.
All right. See you guys.